Hey, so I didn't think there will ever be a perfect day to start a YouTube channel or YouTube or kind of engage with this medium. So I thought it's my birthday today. Let me try it. Let me set a new challenge and start the day differently to how I planned. Why not? So my name is Elijah. I write daily on Instagram, and I guess if you're watching this, you've probably been linked in the bio from Twitter or there. And this YouTube channel is just going to be a lot of random stuff. Just following my natural curiosity. Not really bothered about likes, shares, or subscribes, but they would be nice. And today's video, I'm just going to go through some of the squares that I've been sharing on Instagram and kind of delve into a bit of them. So I'm just setting up here in the room that I've been in for the last 2 years during the pandemic. I've got a microphone, I've got a timer, just so I don't ramble on forever. I've got a bottle of water, the kind of basic webcam, and a little light. This is maybe not the perfect setup, and I'll figure out a way to maybe do it a bit better later, or I can get some direction from you guys. And yeah, I'm just going to go into them one by one. So it's not going to be perfect. It's one take, and I'm never going to watch it back. So enjoy. So the first one is social media is a canvas. So this is one that kind of got a lot of responses on the squares. And what I mean by this, like, I just find social media like really boring. Like, I think artists could be using it a lot better. Usually most of the posts are like, go here, I'm here. Like, I don't know, listen to this thing on this random playlist, come to this festival in a country that I'm never going to go to. And I just think it can be used in so much more of a creative way. And we're all kind of maybe using these platforms every day. I'm like, can we make the space a bit more interesting to be on daily, rather than it just being some boring stream of just adverts and links to things? And it kind of got like all kinds of interesting pushback. Like, oh, I don't have time. Like, why am I going to put energy into Mark Zuckerberg's app? It's like, well, we use the thing every day. You can kind of control your own narrative. It's a space, like you can put photos, like videos, you can do anything with it. And I just feel like we're scratching the surface in terms of what the format and the opportunity of Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, whichever one you want to use, even YouTube, can be. Like, why are we, like, as a DJ community, electronic music community, how have you found this? Why is it just radio track lists and maybe like a reaction to a tune here and there? Like, I feel like things can be so much more interesting. There are people on social media that are like killing it, that are really interested and kind of made me think of this. So I want to pick them up. So like, one of them is Shabaka Hutchins, who's a kind of jazz artist, kind of flute player. He just pulls up, starts playing tunes. He does kind of routines over drill songs. He just pulls up anywhere playing, and it's just like, it's just so sick to follow. He's not really promoting anything. It's just creativity. There's a DJ called Nuria, and she kind of gives a bit of context into the music that she's playing from the Middle East, like Sick Feed. There's a guy called Jake Milner, who's just making tunes in his house all the time. That's pretty much the whole feed. There's another DJ I like from Japan called DJ Coco, and it's all of his feed is pretty much him just mixing 7 inches. Again, just super engaging, interesting, fun to watch, and interesting to listen to. I'm like, if social media was more like that, I feel like we'd be all bouncing off each other in a more positive way, and it'd just be like more of a fun place to be, rather than, I don't know, none of that ever feels like it kind of creates envy or FOMO. It's just people doing their thing, and that's what I enjoy the most about social media right now. And I mean, apart from like obviously posting these things and getting all kinds of interesting DMs, like just seeing people, you know, artists doing art and getting creative and having fun and just working whatever tools they have. Like, I just find that super interesting. The next square I'm going to go into, I think I'm going to like edit it. So maybe it'll be here or there. So it is, don't model your career on people that started before the internet. And that's not a slight on people that started before the internet or social media or whatever this iteration of the World Wide Web is. What I meant by it and what I mean by it is use all the tools that you've got. Like, why kind of reduce yourself to, say, just like being on this small little corner, say like of like 300 vinyl sales on a small label in a country, and it not reaching as many people as possible. Like, why not just like experiment? Even if you do something really niche, porting it onto social media or onto these platforms might get you an interesting result that you don't expect. And it doesn't have to mean bookings or fame or anything like that. It could just get you a feedback loop of other creatives or people that you would have never connected with otherwise. And a lot of people will say, oh, like this person would have never used social media or something like that. And I always push back on that. I'm like, James Brown would have used TikTok, I'm sure, and he would have been sick at it. And if your kind of argument for like not using it or engaging with it for career building, not just for creating art, if you don't create art and just do it by yourself, cool. But for career building is like, oh, Prince would have never have done it. But like, bruv, are you Prince? Like, I don't know if that's like, I mean, you can sit in that if you want to, but again, just try to view these platforms and what this system is optimistically. Like the internet is effectively just electricity, and like creating without electricity in this day and age is kind of crazy to me. So just use the tools, have fun with them, and just don't do anything you don't want to do. The next one kind of links to that. New music won't blow through older distribution. So electronic music has this problem where we're releasing EPs and kind of formats that were on vinyl. So like we're doing EPs and albums and all this kind of stuff. But as you can see from the way people listen to music these days, it's changed from like, obviously physical formats and long formats to more shorter and playlists. You can see it on Spotify. You can go on any dance music producer's EP and you'll see maybe the lead song has got the most plays by 100x, and then every other song on the project has like maybe a couple of thousand plays. And I'm like, well, surely there's a different way of rolling out these songs so more people can hear them, more people can enjoy them. And there's more to it than just like, oh, maybe not releasing EPs and just releasing singles. Maybe part of your kind of strategy or the way you share music needs to change. And the feedback loop from what, the reactions you'll get into tunes on socials might feed back into your way you put things out. So I don't think everything needs to be an album track or an EP or even a single. It could just be a thing for Instagram or a thing for TikTok, and it just be left at that. And the social media becomes another format that you play in. And I see like a lot of artists do this. They'll be like, oh, I released an EP on this label and now I haven't got a booking at this festival. I'm like, well, those things are two different industries. Like, first of all, like no one deserves anything in this world. Like you kind of, you've got to roll the dice with these things. But just because you release a song on a label and maybe it gets a good review on a website, it doesn't mean that it's going to translate into a fan base or paying ticket fan base all over the world. That's like a really hard problem to solve, or a really big challenge for like one song or one project to just make everyone in the world want to pay to see you. So I don't know. There's definitely ways to figure out music living in and amongst all our social posts, all our kind of discourse online. Like so many DJs I follow never post about music, which is just crazy to me. I'd love that, say if every post a DJ did, they were like, I'm listening to these songs, or the music is in the background of their post, or these are the records that I bought this week. And it just make things better. Like hopefully like people would buy more music if more people knew what people are actually playing. Okay, the next one I'm going to go into, maybe it's going to be here or it's going to be there, is know the difference between cannot be done and hasn't been done. So a lot of the time I'm getting feedback for ideas, or you might be putting something forward to someone and they say, oh, well, you can't do that because no one's done it before. It's like, well, yeah, that's like what we're here to do. That's why it's art, right? And a lot of like kind of pushback you might get for ideas, like that is the point of making art. Like that's the fun in it. So a lot of the time when people might be saying something is like impossible or like it's not feasible, it's like, is it really, or just has no one done it before? And that's the sweet spot, and maybe something worth trying and experimenting with. Like, and at the moment, like if you're able to release music and put projects out at low cost, and like the price of failure or an idea not working is very low. So take as many shots on goal as possible. Like, you don't need to necessarily spam people and release 100 tracks a year, for example, but take more shots. Why not? It doesn't cost anything. But this like difference between cannot and hasn't been done, like just figure out like when you're getting feedback for an idea, if that's the case. So my next one is the diversity of successes that people are having that started in grime is very inspiring. So my kind of background is in DJing and writing. I started out in the grime scene, and this like a kind of music and scene and kind of community that I'm proud of in a lot of ways. I was able to release records and travel around the world DJing. And a lot of people that kind of came out of that scene, obviously from really working class backgrounds here in London and beyond, have really like changed their lives over the last like 15 years through music. And it's super inspiring to see like us all grow into adults. You know, some people become fathers and all, and you know, mothers and all kinds of things. And you know, when I was scrolling my timeline a few weeks ago, I was seeing like Big Zoo had like a television program. He'd won like BAFTAs. He's got like a book, an album, a radio show on national radio. You had like Skepta, who was like kind of seemed like he was starting some sort of venture fund. He's got like trainers with Nike, performing at like massive festivals around the world still. You had like, I saw like Lady Leisha on TV. There's just like all these people. Big Nasty's got like restaurants and a gym and all this kind of crazy stuff. I see like P Money's doing gaming streaming on Twitch. There's all these kind of different pockets that everyone's kind of ended up on. Oh yeah, Jams sent me a theatre script like for a show that he's producing. It's just amazing. And I always kind of like speak about grime when I can, and kind of like what that did for me in terms of opening me up like as a creative, and giving me opportunities and figuring out ways to pass that down. So I'm super proud of like all of the people that opened the doors for me in that scene. And obviously like I've tried to continue doing that in other ways for other people in other scenes. And yeah, long may it continue, man, like grime forever. And obviously the music has been going for 20 years now, and it's at a different kind of phase. And if people find new ways of making it interesting, like, you know, my guys in Brazil, like all power to them, man. Like and I'm always going to be interested and following it, but it's not like my primary thing anymore. So I'm always going to be a DJ, always going to love grime, always you know, seeing myself as part of that scene. But at the same time, I'm trying all these other things, like of one life as far as I know. So I'm going to try all these other things now that I've touched 35. Yeah. So the next one is the question, is optimism a skill? And just a question that I'm asking myself, like, you know, I don't wake up like super optimistically all the time. Obviously the last 2 years was super, super difficult, painful, like for personal reasons, you know, family reasons, work reasons. Like there was a day when we effectively lost, you know, 80-90% of our income when everything got cancelled. And you know, getting out of that situation over the last 18 months has been an exercise in not just being optimistic for like, you know, toxic positivity sense, but figuring out like, okay, like some like routines that are going to build confidence again. Like, and the squares have helped me do that. Like literally writing every day and sharing and just letting things go has made me a more optimistic person. Like it's made me more optimistic about myself. It's made me more optimistic about things I'm working on. It's made me like see a different side of all these different people that I work with, and people that are interacting with me. People seem to be like following like an optimistic trait in some of the work that I'm putting out there too. So it's a skill that I'm working on, and like hopefully you can see this grow in my writing and in any other projects that I do, that it's coming from an optimistic place, even if I'm challenging like maybe kind of the establishment or things that could be better. Like hopefully it always comes across as me just wanting the music, the scene to be fairer and everything to be better. It's all coming from an optimistic place. The next one is one of one is greater than number one. Maybe I can kind of relate this to grime and my experience of like being a DJ and all that kind of stuff. My goal was like never like to be the best DJ of that thing. Like I just think my value in that scene and the value that me and Skill brought was contributing something different. And most of the time, that's what like everyone's kind of USP was. Like everyone was doing something slightly different, and then when we linked up, it brought the powers together. And I think the whole, you know, you can't be the best at art. Maybe you'll have like a chart position one week, but then the next week is someone else, or the next song or whatever it's going to be. My favorite, or no, I wouldn't say favorite artists, but the most interesting people to follow are the one of ones. Like there's no like two Skeptors, there's no like two JMEs, there's not two, I don't know, Flavor D's, like, or Swindles. Like they're just, yeah, one of ones. And I guess when you're crafting a kind of career or like a journey for yourself in music, like try and look away from the metrics, like look away from like the best label or the best thing. It's just like doing your own thing and working out what your USP is, or what your kind of you know, one of one. Like I'm the only, say, I don't know, DJ writer person that's sharing daily that is interested in black music, electronic music, pro wrestling, Leyton Orient, who's in East London. Maybe those three or four things make my work interesting to other people, maybe. And you have to figure out what that combination is for you. I guess the last one I'll do now, so I'm not on here for ages and taking up a lot of your time, is I did a square called your plan assumes everything stays the same. And I speak to artists all the time, and everyone is like thoroughly planning, like, yeah, we're dropping this at Q3, we're dropping this, you know, when it gets cold in June or in August or in October, maybe we're going to drop this carnival weekend, so it's the big carnival song. We're going to drop our album in Q3 2023. And like, how do you plan like that? I think, you know, especially with electronic music and rap music, grime and all this kind of stuff, like ideally you would want to be like farm to fork, like the fastest like possible way of sharing the idea. And anything that's stalling that, like just get it out the way. Like once you might say something on the 1st of February and it makes sense, but by the time it comes around on the 2nd of September when it comes out, it might not make as much sense or hit in the way that you expected. And look at the pandemic, like the amount of artists that I spoke to at the end of 2019, it was like, yeah, man, I'm going to have like the sickest 2020. Like, and then it didn't happen because everyone was over planning to drop at the perfect time. And even during the pandemic, people were like, oh, well, things are going to open up come September 2020. So we're going to drop the album on September the 27th. And then we'll get the first drop of the first rave. And then obviously nothing even opened until way into 2021. So all those plans kind of get foiled. So a lot of the projects that I work on now and things that I work on with artists that are close to me, or when people ask me questions, I'm just like, how can you get the thing out, made, done, you're happy with, maybe, you know, shooting videos and got some sort of like, you know, promotional ideas and stuff, but that process being like as quick as possible. I'm figuring it out for my projects, and maybe this is why I'm starting YouTube in this kind of a bit haphazard way. Is like, I don't know, tomorrow I might change my mind or something comes up and I've got to, you know, be somewhere else. So I think not having a plan with even the channel and what this could be right now is just, okay, I'm going to start doing it and then gradually, like over time, figure out how to make this better, how to make the sound better, the camera better, and all this stuff work. But what I'm going to try and do with YouTube, make it an interesting space. Most of the videos will be quite short. I'll try and interview some other artists too, bring on some people. And yeah, I'll just be a learning process, figure out how to use cameras and audio and make something cool for the internet again. So yeah, hope you've enjoyed. And yeah, I'll be daily on Instagram as usual, and I'll be back here as soon as. So yeah, I'm going to go and celebrate the rest of my birthday. Peace.